Relying on yourself according to Buddhist teachings. Have you ever felt lost when the person you trust most can't help you in your toughest moments? In such times, you might wonder, who can I rely on? This is when we need to remember the profound teaching of the Buddha, light your own lamp and go. This teaching is not just a guiding principle in Buddhism, but also a valuable lesson for living strongly in everyday life. Imagine this: if tomorrow everything you depend on suddenly disappeared, family, job, even your faith, what would you do? Could you stand firm when no one is by your side? This is why the Buddha emphasized, no one can save you but yourself. Why can't you rely on others forever? Life is a series of constant changes. The closest people today may not be around tomorrow. Even when they want to help you, they cannot experience your pain or challenges for you. Like a great storm, when trees bend over, only those with deep roots can stand firm. Becoming your own support is not just an option, it's the only way to weather life's storms. The meaning of the teaching. Light your own lamp and go. This teaching goes beyond encouraging self-reliance. It emphasizes that wisdom and liberation come when we seek the light within ourselves. The Buddha once said, "No one can walk your path for you. Only through your own practice and experience can you find the truth." Remember, relying on yourself doesn't mean being alone. You can still learn from others, but the ultimate responsibility lies with you. Don't expect others to solve your problems, for you are the one who truly understands what you face. How to light your own lamp and go. Practice mindfulness, be present in every action and thought. When you live in the moment, you will realize your immense inner strength. Face your fears. Courageously confront difficulties instead of avoiding them. Each time you overcome a challenge, you become stronger. Self-learn and cultivate, read books, meditate, and improve yourself daily. Knowledge is the light that guides you so you don't lose your way. Benefits of relying on yourself. When you are self-reliant, you no longer feel insecure or dependent on others. Your spirit becomes resilient, not swayed by external circumstances. Life becomes a journey where you hold the reins, rather than a race seeking comfort from outside. The light within you. Life is not without storms, but the light within you is the beacon that guides you. Light your own lamp, and you will never fear the darkness. Remember, liberation does not lie in anyone else but in the determination and wisdom you build for yourself. Start today. Part 1, The Buddha's Teachings on Self-Reliance. Teaching. Be a refuge unto yourself. One of the most important and profound teachings of the Buddha is, be a refuge unto yourself, do not rely on anyone else. This is not just advice but a guiding principle for everyone. The Buddha emphasized this teaching in many discourses, serving as a compass for the path of self-enlightenment for his disciples. This teaching first appeared in the Mahaparinibbana Sutta, the greater discourse on the final nirvana, when the Buddha was nearing his passing. He advised his disciples that even though he would no longer be present to guide them, they must seek wisdom, practice the teachings, and maintain faith in liberation through their own efforts. The meaning of the teaching, seeking the light of wisdom within. The phrase, be a refuge unto yourself, emphasizes the importance of self-reliance and self-awareness on the spiritual journey. The Buddha did not encourage his disciples to depend on him or anyone else. Instead, he pointed the way and allowed each individual to walk it themselves. This is a crucial difference in Buddhist teachings. The Buddha is not a savior, but a guide. Imagine you are lost in a dense forest. Someone shows you the way out, but they cannot walk it for you. You must take each step, face challenges, and find your own way. 1. The Buddha does not want you to depend on anyone else. In Buddhism, excessive reliance on others is seen as an obstacle. When you expect others to solve your problems, you abandon your own strength and ability to resolve issues. The Buddha teaches that wisdom and liberation do not come from outside but reside within each person. He said, I am not the one who grants blessings or salvation. I am merely a guide. The path to liberation lies within your own consciousness. 2. Wisdom comes from self-action. No one understands you better than yourself. Only you know your suffering, dreams, and what you need to overcome. Wisdom cannot be fully transferred from someone else, it must come from your own reflection and experience. The Buddha instructed, light your own lamp and go. That lamp represents mindfulness, wisdom, and compassion within you. If you let others hold the lamp, that light will never truly belong to you. Self-reliance in daily life. The significance of this teaching applies not only to spirituality but also offers practical value in life. 1. Self-reliance makes you stronger and more resilient. When you learn to rely on yourself, you become more robust. Instead of waiting for help from others, you create solutions to your own problems. This not only helps you overcome difficulties but also builds confidence and independence. For instance, when facing failure, instead of blaming circumstances or others, you reflect on yourself and seek ways to improve. This is the self-reliance that the Buddha encourages you to practice. 2. Self-reliance does not mean being alone. Many people misunderstand self-reliance as a form of isolation. In reality, self-reliance does not mean living in solitude. The Buddha does not advise us to abandon community or relationships but emphasizes that we should not become overly dependent on others. You can still learn from those around you. But it is essential to understand that change and liberation ultimately lie in your hands. 3. Self-reliance helps you find true freedom. When you do not depend on others, you are no longer bound by expectations or disappointments. You become free in thought and action, taking responsibility for your life. This is the state of liberation that the Buddha seeks. The journey of self-reliance is a journey of enlightenment. The path that the Buddha guides always begins with self-effort. Whether pursuing any goals in life, relying on yourself will help you go further. The Buddha once said, "No one can save you but yourself." No one can and no one should do that. You must walk your own path. This is not a teaching to make you feel alone, but rather the strongest encouragement. It reminds you that the power to overcome all difficulties lies within you. Ask yourself, have you ever waited for someone else to solve your problems? What would happen if that person never showed up? Can you find the light within to move forward? The journey of self-reliance is not easy, but it is the only path leading to true freedom, independence, and happiness. The light lies within you. The Buddha's teaching, "Be a refuge unto yourself," is not just a philosophy of life but also a guiding principle for those seeking liberation and peace. It reminds us that instead of seeking light from outside, look within. Instead of waiting for someone to save you, save yourself. In modern life, this teaching becomes even more meaningful. Amidst the constant upheavals of life, stand firm like an island in the ocean. Be the light that guides yourself and those around you. Because no one else can walk this journey for you. Part 2, Why we should not depend on others. In Buddhist teachings, self-reliance is one of the fundamental principles for achieving enlightenment and peace. This applies not only to the spiritual journey but also has practical implications in daily life. The Buddha emphasized that excessive dependence on others leads to disappointment and insecurity. Here's a detailed analysis, based on Buddhist teachings, of why we should not rely on others. 1. Others cannot fully understand your circumstances and emotions. Each person is a unique world, with experiences, feelings, and thoughts that others cannot completely comprehend. Even your loved ones or friends may care deeply, but they can only see issues from their own perspectives, not yours. The Buddha taught, the mind of another person is like the sky. No one can grasp or control it. This means that each individual has their own mindset and understanding, and we cannot expect them to perceive or solve our problems perfectly. Limits of understanding: when you are sad or suffering, you might share your feelings with others, but can they truly feel what you do? even with empathy. They cannot fully grasp every nuance of your emotions. Reality of differences: everyone has their own life, responsibilities, goals, and feelings. They may care about you, but they also have their limits. The Buddha reminds us that instead of demanding understanding from others, we should turn inward and seek solace within ourselves. 2. Life is impermanent. Those close to us may leave. One of the fundamental teachings in Buddhism is impermanence, anicca. Everything in life, from material possessions to people, cannot last forever. Even the closest relationships are not exempt from this law. Inevitability of change: the person you love and trust most today may not be with you tomorrow. They could leave for many reasons: work, distance, or even permanent departure. If you place your entire safety and happiness in someone else, you will be in crisis when they are no longer present. Lessons from Buddhist teachings. The Buddha taught, everything tied to impermanence should be let go of. This does not mean abandoning love or relationships, rather. It means not allowing them to be the sole center of your happiness and peace. You must become your own source of strength and stability in life. Real-life example: if you rely too much on a partner, when they are no longer around, you will feel empty and lost. However, if you learn to be independent and strong, their departure will not lead to your collapse. 3. Self-reliance builds strength to face challenges. When you rely on yourself, you cultivate the inner strength to confront all challenges. Life isn't always smooth. There will be times when you face difficulties that no one else can help you with. During those times, only your inner strength can keep you steady. The Buddha and the journey of self-reliance. Before achieving enlightenment, the Buddha renounced all dependence on family, friends, and even teachers. He chose the path of personal experience, practicing austerities and meditation to discover the truth. This journey clearly demonstrates the power of self-reliance. Self-reliance creates confidence. When you solve problems on your own, you will feel more confident. Self-reliance not only helps you overcome difficulties but also brings a sense of pride and happiness knowing that you can handle things independently. No limits to self-reliance. Depending on others limits your potential, but taking action on your own opens up infinite possibilities. By being self-reliant, you can discover talents and strengths you never thought you had. Dependence leads to loss of freedom. When you depend on others, you inadvertently give them control over your emotions and happiness. This results in insecurity and anxiety, as you cannot fully control the actions or decisions of others. Everyday example: if you rely on a close friend to solve all your problems, you will feel helpless when they do not have the time to assist you. This can lead to negativity and a loss of confidence in yourself. Self-reliance is the path to freedom, the Buddha taught. When you let go of all dependence, your mind will become free. Freedom here means not only liberation from external constraints but also mental freedom, where you are no longer swayed by expectations or disappointments. Applying this teaching in life. Learn to face your fears. Instead of seeking others for support, learn to confront your fears. Each time you overcome a challenge, you become stronger. Practice meditation. Meditation helps you connect with your inner self, finding peace and strength from within without relying on others. Proactively learn and develop yourself. When you make an effort by yourself, you will appreciate the true value of your achievements. Be your own support. Relying on others is natural during difficult times, but the Buddha teaches that we should not let it become a habit. Self-reliance not only helps you overcome challenges but also brings true freedom and happiness. Remember that those around you can be companions, but they cannot walk your path for you. You are the one steering your own ship. The Buddha has shown the way, but the journey must be undertaken by you. Part 3. Self-reliance does not mean loneliness. In the teachings of the Buddha, self-reliance is emphasized as a crucial factor for achieving enlightenment and inner peace. However, self-reliance does not mean severing all relationships or living a solitary life. The Buddha did not advocate for isolation but rather advised us not to rely entirely on others. Instead, self-reliance means finding strength from within while maintaining positive relationships with those around us. 1. Self-reliance, finding peace and strength within. Self-reliance, according to Buddhist teachings, is the ability to navigate challenges, discover wisdom, and attain inner peace without depending on anyone else. This requires focusing on developing your own mindfulness, wisdom, and compassion. Inner strength as the source of peace. The Buddha taught that all suffering originates from the mind. If you allow your mind to be disturbed by external factors, you will always feel unsettled. Self-reliance helps you find strength within, unaffected by external fluctuations. Meditation and mindfulness. The Buddha encouraged the practice of meditation to train the mind. Through meditation, you learn to recognize the nature of phenomena and overcome emotional attachments. This is a practical way to cultivate self-reliance without isolating yourself from the world. 2. Self-reliance does not mean severing relationships. Self-reliance is not about abandoning all social relationships or living in solitude. On the contrary, the Buddha always encouraged his disciples to maintain harmony within the community and to learn from and support one another. Learning from others, in the quest for enlightenment. You can gain insights from the experiences and wisdom of others. However, it is essential to understand that enlightenment and liberation can only come from your own actions and practice. The Buddha once said, "A wise person learns from others like a bee gathers nectar from flowers without harming their beauty." This emphasizes that we can learn from those around us without becoming dependent on them. The Sangha, community even after attaining enlightenment. The Buddha established the Sangha to support his disciples in their practice. The Sangha is clear evidence that self-reliance can coexist with mutual support and harmony. 3. Liberation comes only through personal action. While you may receive guidance from others, true liberation can only be achieved through your own actions. The Buddha said, "No one can save you but yourself. Be a refuge unto yourself." Others as guides. In the scriptures, the Buddha is often likened to a guide. He can show you the path to liberation but cannot walk it for you. Each person must walk that path on their own. Personal practice. The Buddha taught that practice should not be limited to theory or listening to teachings, it must involve daily action. If you only listen to and understand the teachings without practice, wisdom cannot develop. 4. Examples from the life of the Buddha. The life of the Buddha is a vivid testament to self-reliance while also demonstrating that self-reliance does not equate to isolation. Learning from various teachers, before achieving enlightenment, the Buddha, then Prince Siddhartha, learned from many renowned teachers of his time. He gained valuable insights into meditation and philosophy but realized that these methods could not lead him to complete enlightenment. Even after leaving these teachers, the Buddha did not deny the value of the lessons he learned. Instead, he integrated what he had learned and found his own middle way to enlightenment. Companionship in practice. During his journey of asceticism, the Buddha had 5 companions. However, when he recognized that the path of extreme austerity was ineffective, he abandoned this method and sought the middle way. After attaining enlightenment, he returned to share his teachings with his former companions, helping them to achieve enlightenment as well. The Sangha and harmony. After his enlightenment, the Buddha did not choose to live in solitude but instead established the Sangha to spread his teachings. He understood that self-reliance and support from the community can coexist. And the Sangha provides an ideal environment for disciples to support one another on their spiritual journey. 5. How to practice self-reliance without feeling lonely. Learn to balance. Strive to rely on yourself to solve problems, but don't hesitate to seek help when needed. The key is not to become entirely dependent on others but to view them as sources of inspiration and temporary support. Maintain positive relationships. Build and sustain healthy relationships where you can learn from each other without being bound or dependent. Practice meditation. Meditation helps you connect with yourself and find peace from within. When your mind is at ease, you will feel less lonely, even when alone. Understand the nature of support. Help from others is important but should be viewed as temporary. You need to take action yourself to achieve lasting change. Self-reliance in harmony with social relationships. Self-reliance does not mean abandoning all relationships or living a lonely life. The Buddha demonstrated that self-reliance and community support can complement each other, creating a complete spiritual journey. Always remember. You can learn from others. But liberation comes from your own actions. You can maintain positive relationships without becoming dependent. By practicing self-reliance and building inner strength, you will find true peace and freedom while maintaining harmonious connections with those around you. Part 4: How to Rely on Yourself. In Buddhist teachings, relying on oneself is the path to discovering inner strength and liberation by developing wisdom, mindfulness, and the courage to face life's challenges. The Buddha taught that each person has the ability to free themselves from suffering by depending on their own inner strength. Here are specific methods for practicing self-reliance. 1. Practice mindfulness, always be awake in every action. Mindfulness, sati, is one of the key factors in the Noble Eightfold Path, helping us live with awareness and focus on the present moment. Through mindfulness, we can control our thoughts, emotions, and actions, building a foundation to solve life's problems independently. Mindfulness in thoughts. Observe the mind. When practicing mindfulness, you learn to observe your thoughts without judgment. This helps you recognize negative thoughts and let them go, rather than allowing them to control you. Focus on the present. The Buddha taught that suffering often arises from the mind being trapped in the past or worrying about the future. Mindfulness helps you focus on the present, where problems can be solved wisely. Mindfulness in action. Practice awareness in everything you do, whether it's a big or small task, do it with full attention. For example, when walking, feel each step; when eating, savor the flavors and the transformation of food in your body. Don't let emotions guide you. Mindfulness helps you control actions and not be swept away by anger, fear, or any negative emotions. Mindfulness meditation. Meditation to train the mind. Meditation is an effective way to develop mindfulness. When meditating, focus on the breath or a specific object to calm the mind and clearly recognize phenomena. Enhance your ability to cope. Mindfulness helps you face challenges calmly and wisely, rather than being swayed by external factors. 2. Self-education and practice. Read books, meditate. Understand the Dharma. The Buddha emphasized that wisdom is the light that guides people out of suffering. Self-education and practice not only enhance knowledge but also serve as a method for building self-reliance. Learning through scriptures and Buddhist books. Study the scriptures. Take time to read and understand key texts like the Dhammapada, Satipatthana Sutta, and the Noble Eightfold Path. Lessons from these scriptures will help you understand the nature of life and the path to enlightenment. Attend Dharma talks, if possible. Participate in teachings from reputable teachers to learn more. Their guidance will help you apply the Dharma in real life. Practice meditation. Concentration meditation, samatha. Train your concentration by focusing the mind on a single object, such as the breath, to calm the mind and establish the foundation for clarity. Insight meditation, vipassana. Observe the true nature of phenomena, recognizing impermanence, anicca, suffering, dukkha, and non-self, anatta. Develop problem-solving skills. Apply wisdom in life. Always try to apply what you've learned in real life. For example, when facing difficulty, analyze the issue as the Buddha taught, understand the causes, consequences, and find solutions based on wisdom. Ask yourself questions: when encountering a tough situation, ask yourself, is this really important? How can I solve it without harming myself or others? 3. Find strength from within by facing and overcoming fear. Facing fear is an essential part of the journey to self-reliance. The Buddha taught that fear originates in the mind and can be overcome through awareness and wisdom. Understand the nature of fear. Fear is impermanent. All emotions, including fear, are impermanent. When you realize that fear does not last forever, it becomes easier to face it. Fear is often a product of the mind. Most fears are not based on reality but stem from negative thoughts or unnecessary worries. Face fear directly. Do not avoid. The Buddha taught that avoiding fear only strengthens it. Instead, confront fear directly and analyze it objectively. Use mindfulness. When feeling afraid, focus on the breath and observe the feeling of fear without judgment. This helps you detach from the emotion and see it clearly. Learn to let go. Let go of attachment. Fear often arises from attachment to things we don't want to lose. The Buddha taught that when you let go of attachment, fear diminishes. Practice compassion. Compassion for yourself helps you accept that fear is a natural part of life. And you don't need to feel ashamed or weak for facing it. 4. Integrate everything into daily life. Relying on oneself is not a one-time action, but an ongoing process in daily life. Integrate mindfulness, wisdom, and courage. Live mindfully. Try to practice mindfulness in everything you do, from small tasks like eating and walking to major life decisions. Cultivate wisdom. Spend time every day studying, meditating, and reflecting on lessons from the scriptures. Face challenges. When encountering difficulties, use what you've learned to solve problems wisely and calmly. Maintain patience and compassion. Be patient with yourself. The path to self-reliance is a long journey. Don't rush or blame yourself when you fail. Love and forgive yourself. Always treat yourself with compassion and forgiveness, even when you make mistakes. The path to liberation through self-reliance. Relying on oneself is a challenging but profoundly meaningful journey. By practicing mindfulness, self-education, and facing fear, you will gradually discover your inner strength and achieve true peace. As the Buddha said, be your own island, be your own refuge, and do not rely on anyone else. The path to happiness and freedom is always in your hands. Part 5. The benefits of self-reliance. According to the teachings of the Buddha, self-reliance is not only a method for freeing oneself from suffering but also the foundation for creating a life of freedom, peace, and meaning. When we rely on ourselves, we tap into our inner strength to overcome difficulties, find independence of spirit, and become an inspiration to those around us. Here is a detailed analysis of the 3 main benefits of self-reliance from the Buddhist perspective. 1. Freedom and independence. Freedom from dependence. The Buddha taught that everything in life is impermanent, anicca. If we place our trust and happiness in others or external circumstances, we will easily be hurt when those things change. Self-reliance helps you avoid being bound by others' expectations or by your dependence on circumstances. When you face and solve problems on your own, you will experience true freedom. Independence in thought and action. When you rely on yourself, you learn to think independently, free from external viewpoints or pressures. This helps you live a life true to yourself. The Buddha once said, "No one can save you but yourself. No one can and no one has the right to do so. You must walk the path yourself." This emphasizes that self-reliance is the key to achieving independence, both mentally and in action. Personal achievement. When you achieve something through your own efforts, the joy and satisfaction you feel are much deeper. Self-reliance builds your self-esteem and confidence because you know that all your successes are the result of your own hard work. 2. A steady mind. Not shaken by external circumstances. Overcoming difficulties with inner strength. The Buddha taught that suffering is an unavoidable part of life. However, how we deal with suffering is entirely dependent on the mind. With self-reliance, you learn to find inner strength to face every challenge. For example, when faced with failure, a self-reliant person will not blame circumstances or others. Instead, they will look at the issue objectively, learn from it, and continue to move forward, unshaken by praise or criticism. One of the important lessons in Buddhist teachings is not to let your mind be disturbed by the 8 worldly winds, gain and loss, praise and blame, fame and disgrace, pleasure and pain. A self-reliant person does not let praise make them arrogant or criticism make them despondent. A steady mind helps you maintain peace in all circumstances, whether success or failure, happiness or suffering. Developing wisdom and compassion. When you rely on yourself, you become more enlightened because you are not swayed by emotions or external factors. This wisdom helps you see things clearly and make sound decisions. At the same time, self-reliance does not make you selfish or distant from others. On the contrary, it helps you develop compassion because you understand that everyone must face their own challenges. 3. Becoming an inspiration to others. Being a role model for those around you. When you live a life of self-reliance, you become a role model for others to follow. Your actions and decisions not only help you grow but also encourage those around you to do the same. The Buddha is a clear example of the power of self-reliance. He sought the truth on his own, attained enlightenment, and shared valuable teachings with all beings. His life is an immense source of inspiration for millions of people, helping others develop self-reliance. When you rely on yourself, you can inspire and support others in learning how to stand on their own feet. This not only helps them develop personally but also creates a strong, self-sufficient community. The Buddha taught, "The wise are those who show the way, but the journey to the destination is yours to take." When you encourage others to rely on themselves, you are helping them build a more meaningful life, creating a lasting positive impact. Self-reliance not only benefits you personally but also creates a ripple effect. The values you build through self-reliance will inspire future generations, helping them realize their own inner strength. The priceless value of self-reliance. Self-reliance not only helps you become free and independent but also strengthens your mind against the fluctuations of life. At the same time, you become an inspiration to those around you, encouraging them to explore and develop their own inner strength. As the Buddha said, "Make yourself a refuge to rely on, don't rely on anyone else." When you practice self-reliance, you not only build a peaceful life for yourself but also contribute to making the world more beautiful with your own peace and wisdom. Start your journey of self-reliance today, and step by step, discover the potential strength within you. Conclusion: the light from within. Life is always full of challenges and difficulties, much like storms that are inevitable. However, the light inside each of us is the steady beacon that guides us through the roughest waves. This is not only a profound philosophy in the Buddha's teachings, but also a reminder that true strength always resides within each of us. The Buddha once said, "Make yourself a refuge to rely on. Don't rely on anyone else." These words are not just a guide to liberation but also encourage us to develop self-reliance, wisdom, and determination in life. When you light your own torch, you will no longer fear the darkness, for the light from within will always guide you, no matter how external circumstances change. The power of self-reliance. When you learn to rely on yourself, you will realize that happiness and peace do not come from others or external conditions, but from your own thoughts, actions, and determination. Self-reliance is not about isolation or abandoning all relationships, but about finding inner peace and strength, while building healthy relationships with others without dependency. Remember, life is impermanent, and no one can always be there to solve problems for you. Only you truly understand your own feelings, circumstances, and desires. When you face difficulties bravely, analyze them and find ways to overcome them, you will become stronger after each challenge. Start with determination and wisdom. The Buddha demonstrated that liberation only comes when each person makes their own efforts toward practice and enlightenment. He gave up royal life to search for the path to truth, which clearly shows that wisdom and determination are the keys to true happiness. From small actions like practicing mindfulness, staying calm in adversity, or persistently studying the teachings, you are each step closer to building your own light. Do not be afraid of initial difficulties, because every step, no matter how small, brings you closer to freedom and peace. Light your own torch. Life is not without storms, but the light within you will help you overcome everything. Even though the path may seem lonely at times, trust that every step on this journey holds great meaning. You don't need to become perfect, just try a little harder each day to light your own life. Remember, liberation is not found in anyone else but in the determination and wisdom you build yourself. Don't wait for others to help you change your life. For the power to change has always been within you. Start today, light your own torch of wisdom, compassion, and perseverance. That light will not only guide you but will inspire those around you. Rest assured that, when you walk on your own, you will never fear the darkness.